Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for a haul. Okay, so here is a mixture of books I've both bought and been sent via my subscription services and various other things, so I will talk about them as I get to them. But let's get straight into the books because there's quite a few here. The first book I bought myself is The Butcher's Hook by Janet Ellis. I just couldn't resist this. I was chatting to Tracy from Flamingos Reads, who I adore and lives near me, so we occasionally go out and do some book shopping together, and she said she'd picked it up recently, and I had it on my radar and I really wanted it, and she said they were having a sale of it on the Book People's website, and I went and it was a lot cheaper than the normal hardback price, and so I bought it. The most that I know about this book is it's set in Georgian London. It's about a girl. She doesn't want to marry who she is being told she has to marry, and there might be some grim murders or yeah, I'm just intrigued, and the cover of this is beautiful, and I've heard nothing but good things so far, so I can't wait to see what I think. The next book I picked up was on the recommendation of someone. I think it was Reagan from Peruse Project. In fact, I'm almost certain it was, because she was talking about a new book. I think it's the 4th or 5th book that's come out in a particular series, and I definitely want to read that, but I thought maybe I should go back to the beginning, and so I've picked up The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chimer to get myself started. I've never read any books by her. I do own The Warrior Heir, which is another trilogy, I believe, but this is the start of the Seven Realms trilogy, book 1, and so I thought I'd pick this up and see what I think of it. This is a fantasy book. It's about a group of friends, and they're out one day, and apparently they see 3 young wizards using a magical amulet to set fire to the sacred mountain of Hanalea. Han wrestles it from them, but without realising that his heroism has put him and his family in great danger, for the young arsonist is Micah Bayer, son of the High Wizard, and the amulet, a treasure with immense power. It once belonged to the Demon King, the legendary wizard who nearly destroyed the world a millennium ago. The Bayers will stop at nothing to get it back, so that sounds really fun. The next book I picked up was from a charity shop, and that was More Than This by Patrick Ness. I've heard lots about this book, but I hadn't picked it up before, and I couldn't resist seeing as it was so cheap. It's about a boy who dies and then wakes up and doesn't know where he is, I believe, so I'm intrigued, and the cover is very interesting on this one, so I'm looking forward to giving this a go. The next book I picked up is All the Truth That's in Me by Julie Berry. This is quite a short book. It's only a couple of 100 pages long, but I've heard that it's very moving. It's about a girl that goes missing, and then when she returns, she has had her tongue cut out. It's about how she copes and how she can't tell anybody what's happened to her, and I've heard good things, so I want to give this one a go. The next book I picked up was set in New Orleans, and that is The Casket Girls by Alice Arden. I saw this when it was originally released, and I didn't get around to buying it, and then I saw it in a charity shop and thought I couldn't resist. The back says, after the storm of the century rips apart New Orleans, 16-year-old Adele Lemoyne wants nothing more than her now silent city to return to normal. But with a parish-wide curfew, a climbing murder rate, and mysterious new faces lurking in the abandoned French Quarter, normal needs a new definition. Caught in a hurricane of myths and monsters, Adele must untangle a web of magic that weaves back to her own ancestors. Who can she trust when everyone has a secret, and keeping them can mean life or death unless you're immortal? And I just love books set in New Orleans, and so I've got really high hopes for this one, and it's an intriguing cover, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. The next book I saw on Patty from I Smell Books channel, and also I think originally she saw it on Dee Dee's channel, Frenchie D, and they did a read along of this, and it just sounds really good, and it's The Polished Hoe by Austin Clarke. I just think this sounds like a brilliant story. It's set in 1952 in Bimshire, and it's about the sergeant of the island's police force is called to hear a murderous confession. It's one woman's story told over a number of years. It's about a fair-skinned plantation owner's mistress, and I've heard it's really good, so I thought I would pick it up and give it a go myself. Okay, and then the next book I picked up is Our Song by Danny Atkins. I keep picking this up from the library and never getting around to reading it, and it's always got a reserve on it, so it needs to go back. And so I bit the bullet and I bought myself a copy because it was really, really cheap. And I can't wait. I've heard great things about this. I've heard it's made people cry. It's about 4 people and 2 marriages, and I don't know if people are in love with each other's husbands or wives or what's going on, but I've heard great things. It's an adult contemporary romance, I suppose, so I'm looking forward to this one. The next book I picked up after seeing it on someone's channel, and mainly because of this cover, which I think is brilliant. It's called Hatred Day by T.S. Pettibone, and I just think this is a wonderfully evocative front cover. I'll read you the back because it sounds intriguing. It's the year 2052. It's not love but hate that unites the world. Humanity is unified against the inborns, an extraterrestrial species with godlike intelligence and abilities whose arrival on Earth caused an environmental and biological crisis. Enslaved and despised even by her own inborn kind, 18-year-old Snofrid Yagami reawakens to the world after having her memories stolen and is certain of only one thing: she will do anything to ensure her freedom. But her resolution is soon tested when the son of a high-ranking human official is murdered and her home city becomes the centre of interspecies war, one that might see the inborns purged. Desperate to find a way out of the city for herself and her family, Snofrid risks making a deal with the manipulative inborn commander Hadrian and his brutal cadre of soldiers. Her task is simple: take part in a historic hunt that will bring wealth and fame to all who survive. Unfortunately, Snofrid's role is one in which survival is rarely seen. The bait. I can't wait. And then the final book that I want to talk about today was the one that was sent me this month from my Willoughby Book Club subscription, and that is Those Above by Daniel Polanski, and this is book 1 in the Empty Throne series. I haven't heard anything about this before, so I am interested to see. I believe it's a fantasy. It looks like a fantasy. It says, tall, strong, perfect, for 3,000 years those above have ruled over their human subjects. From the glittering palaces of their eternal city they enforce their will with fire and sword. 25 years ago mankind mustered an army and rose up against them, only to be slaughtered in a terrible battle. Hope died that day, but hatred survived. Whispers of another revolt are beginning to stir in the hearts of the oppressed. A woman widowed in the war who has dedicated her life to revenge, a general, the only man to ever defeat one of those above in single combat, summoned forth to raise a new legion, and a boy killer who rises from the gutters to lead an uprising in the capital. Those Above is the first of an extraordinary new fantasy epic by the author of the acclaimed Lowtown series that will sweep the reader into a wholly alien, wholly recognisable world of rebellion and revenge, of love and death and intrigue in a pitiless war. I can't wait. This just sounds really, really right up my street. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this one. And it's a hardback, so I feel I did really well out of that. So that's all the books that I've picked up recently. Have you read any of these? Especially if you read Those Above, let me know if it's any good. And I look forward to talking to you in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now, BookTube.